Hello, fans and viewers. Welcome to St. Patrick High School, home of the Shamrocks. My name is Michael Glynn. I'm a senior at St. Pat's, and I'm alongside my colleague, Daniel Cortez. We're interviewing Coach Mike Bailey, who's starting his 18th season with the Shamrocks. And, Coach, we're just going to cut right to the chase here with our basketball preview. The ESCC is a very strong conference this year. Obviously, St. Viator won the conference last year. Notre Dame and Marist are always contenders, and Bennett and Marian Catholic feature some of the conference's best players. How do the Shamrocks stack up against these teams, and what do you hope for this season?
Yeah, Mike, great question. Before I answer that question, though, let me just do this. Speaking for our entire basketball program, I want to thank you and Dan for everything that you guys do, whether it's the morning sports reports and all that, and really with the internet service that you do during our games. I don't think you guys understand how far you reach out right there. So it's a class act that you guys have, and it certainly has been a big part of our basketball program. As far as our conference, it's really one of the top conferences in the state. Last year, a lot of the internet services called out the ESCC conference the second or third best conference in the state, and our conference this year is going to be every bit as good. So it's loaded with a lot of experienced players. It's loaded with a lot of outstanding coaches, and really, I think you're going to see the 6th or 7th place team in this conference is going to be one heck of a basketball team. That's how competitive our conference will be. And really, I think that's up in the line with all the sports in the ESCC. You have some great schools, great traditions and school spirits in the ESCC, and that certainly carries over to the basketball right now. So it's wide open. We think we're right. We're excited. We think we're one of the teams right in the hunt right there. But certainly our conference is going to be one of the top conferences, not in the Chicagoland area, but in the state of Illinois.
Coach, you mentioned that the ESCC has some of the best players. Would you mind naming some of the best players?
Yeah, let's just start with St. Viator's. Ori Aragandu, okay, will be a junior. One of the things is a lot of these kids that are the top players in our conference are only going to be juniors, okay? So our conference is going to be outstanding not only this year, but in years to come. So Ori, about a 6'2 junior over at St. Viator's. He'll probably be somewhere between either a mid-major or a major Division I player by the time he graduates. Sean O'Mara is a 6'9 post player at Bennett Academy. He certainly will be a Division I player right there. Nazareth has a 7-footer who's only a sophomore. All right? So they're going to be loaded not only this year but for years to come. Marian Catholic has Tyler Eulis. Tyler Eulis is a fun player to watch. He'd be one of those guys. Just as a fan, I would pay to come watch and see play a little bit. He's a 5'6 point guard. He's been offered a scholarship already to Syracuse. He's only a junior. And up and down the line, Notre Dame has a bunch of nice, really good players right there. Chris Mooney signed with to go to the Air Force Academy. So we think we're right there with a lot of the players we have, but certainly it's a talented conference that we have.
Coach Bailey, let's step away from the ESCC conference and talk a little bit more about our two seniors, Elijah Watson and Royale Ewing. Both of these players are very, very strong, and they are very, very talented with a whole bunch of varsity experience. What do you see their strengths as, and what would you like to see them improve on this year?
Well, we could always improve on defense, okay? So that's always the number one thing with us in our basketball program. Both of those guys are excellent defensive players. Royale's been on the varsity team since he's been a freshman. He came up right after the Thanksgiving tournament when we suffered some injuries. Last year was the second leading scorer in the ESCC. So we returned a lot of firepower there. And he, like you said, Dan, so well, he's just a seasoned player right there. It's been so nice, though, watching him progress, not only as a basketball player, but as a person in our school. He's an outstanding student. He's really grown up to be a Shamrock here in the last few years, kind of understanding what our school is all about. Elijah came up towards the tail end of his freshman year. And so, again, he's a seasoned point guard player for us right here and really one of my all-time favorite players. There's probably been no player I've kicked out of practice more other than my own son, Brandon, all right, or kicked out of drills more than Elijah. But he is as competitive as a player that we've ever had here in my 19 years at St. Pat's. Certainly has great leadership qualities. He's a gym rat. He lives in our gym. And another guy that's a very, very good student and a guy that has kind of really grown into the Shamrock way here. So those are two of the guys that we hope as seniors should be anchoring our basketball team.
We've just talked about some of the upperclassmen on the varsity squad. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the underclassmen. Nick Coleman was just a freshman last year, and he saw the floor quite a bit. Now, what do you expect from Nick Coleman in terms of maturity and also some of the other sophomores and juniors that are just coming up onto the varsity squad?
Yeah, Mike, he's more comfortable this year, obviously being a sophomore on the varsity team. I thought he fit in great last year as a freshman. That's a big step for a guy. He certainly hit some big shots and made some big plays for us throughout the course of the season. But just his added strength, his added maturity level right there, he'll be one of the top leaders that by the time he graduates, because you already see that right now as a sophomore, he'll be one of the top leaders that we've had here in our basketball program in the time that I've been here. He just has that swag to himself, that whatever it is, he has it about his game. He plays with the confidence, and the other players around him play with the confidence, okay? If I could just kind of come back just a little bit to our seniors, though, Mike, a little bit. Keith Langston is a transfer in from Whitney Young. He transferred in. He'll be eligible right off the bat. He's a kid that I don't think he really understands how good he could be. He's a very skilled player, about 6'5", and can kind of play inside, outside for us. Luis Gallegos was a guy that was one of our starters last year at our post position. Plays with a tremendous amount of intensity, a tremendous amount of passion. And then two seniors that we think are going to really add a lot to our team this year, Mike Hoffman and Mamadou Diarra, okay? Both of these guys played a little bit for us last year. They both will be heavily in the rotation this year. And you know what? They're seniors. And there's always something special, I think, about a St. Pat's senior and a St. Pat's senior basketball player. They bring a little bit more passion and know-how to what we're doing. But jumping back with our underclassmen, they'll be on the varsity. We also have two other sophomores that should be heavily in our rotation. Adrian Perchinowski, okay, about a 6'2", a sophomore shooter right there. Just a good basketball player, good shooter. Needs to get some reps and experience, obviously, some game time. But we think by the second half of the season, he'll be a very integral part to what we're doing. Then Isaac Moore. I think this is a kid that a lot of people around St. Pat's might not know a lot about because he suffered an injury that really took him out of the whole season last year. But he's a 6'3" kid that kind of plays inside, outside. And the thing about Adrian and Isaac, they play for the team. It's all about the team and where they kind of fit in a little bit.
Coach Bailey, let's look a little bit into the future. Let's talk about the Hinsdale South Christmas Tournament. As you know, this year we will not be traveling to Proviso West. Can you tell me how this will be different, how this will be a different experience for the team?
Yeah, we kind of switch up. We try to, every 4 or 5 years, kind of switch up the Christmas tournaments that we played. We played in the Elgin Christmas Tournament for a long time. We switched over to Proviso West. This year we're going to be going to Hinsdale South. We like to do that. We like to bring the Shamrocks to different parts of the Chicagoland area. We have a large alumni base, and we like to kind of go to all different areas of the Chicagoland, whether it's our non-conference games or our Christmas tournaments, just to kind of showcase our program and showcase our school a little bit. So the Hinsdale South tournament will be a very, very competitive tournament. It'll have 16 teams in it. Proviso West kind of expanded to 32 teams, kind of experimenting a little bit. So we know that with the 16-team tournament, we like that format right there. There'll be some top teams in there. Providence, which is coached by Coach Trendle, who is a former assistant of ours, a longtime basketball coach here and outstanding teacher. So we have Hinsdale South themselves will be very good. Sandburg High School has 2 Division I players. So it'll be a very, very competitive tournament for us.
And what are your hopes coming into this tournament?
Well, our hopes are that we win the warm-up. That's the first game, Dan. No, I'm just kidding you, Dan. Our hopes is to compete, okay? You know, we just think our program is to a point where wherever we go, no matter who we're playing against, that we can compete with any team around. So our goal is always to go in and win it, keep the process going, get better each game, get ourselves ready for the second half of the season. But if there's a game being played, if there's going to be a baseline and a sideline out there, there's going to be a scoreboard up there, the Shamrock's goal is to win that game, win that tournament.
Thank you.
Now, Coach, if I'm a Shamrock fan and I can only make it out to one game this year, the biggest game of the year, which date on the calendar would you circle and why?
Mike, tough question. Okay, as a coach, I'm telling you the biggest game of the year is next Monday night when we play against Mather at 7:45 here, okay? But certainly one of the greatest rivalries in the state, in any sport and anything we do, is the St. Pat's Notre Dame game right there. But we have so many other great games on our schedule. There's going to be 4 or 5 of our teams in our conference going to be ranked probably somewhere in the top 25 somewhere during the season. But that Notre Dame game is always special, okay? It's one of the best rivalries around in anything that we do.
And now we have a tough non-conference schedule that features Catholic League teams such as St. Joe's, Fenwick, Loyola, St. Ignatius. How do these games prepare the Shamrocks for the state playoffs?
Well, our goal is always to play the best schedule we can. Our conference is so good. The tournaments that we play in are so good. I think good players want to be challenged by good competition. And I think a school like St. Pat's, where we always demand and expect the best out of our students, out of anything that we do, we want to play against the best teams that we can. So that's the way that we always kind of set up our non-conference schedule. Those are quality teams you mentioned right there. We'll be playing Thornton High School at the Ridgewood Shootout somewhere, I think, in mid-December right there. They're going to be probably a top 25 basketball team right there. But, again, I think one of the things that attracts basketball players to St. Pat's is they know that each and every game out they're going to play against a quality team and that it's going to be a challenge for them each and every game out. And that just gets you ready for the conference. It just gets you ready for the state tournament.
To conclude this interview, is there one promise that you can make to the school about the upcoming basketball season?
We'll play hard, okay? I think, and we'll play with a passion. And we'll play for the guys in the stands. I think that's always been a trend. Right? One of the things that makes me always feel good about our basketball program is people always come back and say, they don't always say how good we play or how well we play, but they always say about how hard we play and how intense we play. And I think a lot of that it just stemmed from the type of school that we have here at St. Pat's. But here's what I guarantee the people that come out. We'll play hard, okay? We'll play together. We'll play with a passion. And what I always like is, especially when we have our really great teams, they play for the guys, our students in the stands. Our stud sections, our students, are really part of our basketball program. There's been a great bond between our basketball program and our student body, and we consider them to be every bit as big a part of our basketball program as any player out on the court. And I think it's that bond that really kind of separates our school and our basketball program maybe from other basketball programs. It's a very unique experience right here.
Coach Bailey, we would like to thank you for coming out and taking some time out of your practice schedule to be part of this interview.
Dan, anytime I can get away from our players, it's a good interview. You know, it's going to be a good time right there. So I appreciate it, though. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Cortez, class of 2013.
And my name is Michael Glynn.
And we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the special segment. Remember, if you cannot make it out to the home basketball games, tune in live at ustream.tv or go to our St. Patrick homepage under athletics and click the ustream.tv ad. Thank you.